Well, it's finally here, the UEFA Champions League final between Manchester City and Inter. We're going to preview the match. We're going to tell you who's going to hoist the trophy at the end of the match, and we're going to give you a couple of prop bets that will help build your bankroll heading into the summer and that Women's World Cup later in July. But before we get started with everything, I have to introduce Grandstand Better's soccer aficionado, the man behind the only Oxford United YouTube channel that you need to be watching, and my friend from across the pond, Mr. Ian Allen. Ian, how are you doing today, and are you ready for this Champions League final?
Hello, Matt. Great to be here once again. It should be a great final. Really looking forward to it. It's great that in a game where we're talking about two of Europeans' greats, Man City and Inter Milan, that you tell everybody that they should go and subscribe to an Oxford United YouTube channel. And why shouldn't you do it? But is it going to be another English side winning a European trophy after West Ham just won the Conference League, or are Inter going to win it for the first time in ages? Stick with us. We're gonna tell you.
Well, with that, Ian, let's dive into the Champions League preview and start talking a little bit about the underdog Inter here. We've talked about this a little over the past month, but they honestly, in my opinion, they were handed a very easy draw to reach this final. Can you break down this Inter team and give us a preview of how they match up against Manchester City?
I will do my best, Matt. I will do my best. Yeah, it's good to start with Inter Milan. As you said, they are the underdogs, and they're probably the ones that are going to have to change their game plan more to match City than the other way around. So Inter Milan, they're looking for their first Champions League trophy since Jose Mourinho won the treble with them back in 2010. But they will probably make a couple of changes from the side that played at the weekend in their final Serie A game. Skriniar probably coming back into defence, and Mkhitaryan probably coming back into midfield. But other than that, Simone Inzaghi will probably stick with the same formation, which is a 3-4-2. Now, normally Inter like to play a possession-based game, but I think they're going to have to accept the fact that they're going to have to surrender a lot of possession to Man City and sit back and defend for large periods. Dumfries and DeMarco at wing-back are probably going to have to drop deeper, make it more of a back five and deny City a lot of space. And that does create a problem for Inter Milan because it goes against what they normally like to do and what they normally like. And when Inter as well, they normally do give the opposition a lot of scoring opportunities, but they won't be able to do that on Saturday. They just cannot give Man City, can't give them opportunities to score because they will punish them. I do also think there might be a lack of discipline in that midfield. Brozovic is a very strong defensive midfielder. We've seen him with Croatia in the World Cup do that job. But there are question marks over Barella and over Mkhitaryan. Will they be able to stay disciplined? Will they be able to track those Man City runners? Like, for example, De Bruyne and like Gundogan. We saw Man United fail to do that. And in the first 12 seconds of the game, Gundogan was able to take advantage. Another thing Inter Milan like to do is pass the ball out from the back. And that's another thing that they're going to have to not really do during this game. They're going to have to make sure that if they do it, that they are successful when they do it. Because if they give the ball away to Manchester City, in bad areas, that's another area where they will hurt them. They need to go more direct. They need to take the ball forward and hit Lukaku early, make sure he can hold the ball up, or make sure they hit Martinez to run into the channels behind. This will get Inter Milan up the field and get them playing football in better areas. If Inter Milan can push Man City's wing-backs back, as I said, we talked about Dumfries and we talked about Guzans. If they can push back Bernardo Silva and push back Grealish, that is where they can create a lot of joy. Those two are attacking players, not really defenders, and that is where they can hopefully create chances and hopefully get the ball into the likes of Martinez and Lukaku where they can score goals, and then you've got the likes of Barella and Mkhitaryan coming deeper from midfield to get on to second phases. In fact, I think Romelu Lukaku is going to be pivotal to how Inter Milan do. He's such a big, powerful player, and he usually is quite a big game player as well, but it's his ability to hold the ball up and take Man City out of their game to get Inter Milan some possession and get them playing higher up the field is going to be critical to how they do in this game, because they can't just sit back and they can't just defend for 90 minutes and just hope to keep City to not scoring. It's just not going to happen. But overall, I do think Inter need to keep this game tight. I do think that if they're level or if they're a goal down, they don't need to change too much. If City get a 2-goal lead, I really don't see there's much way back for Inter Milan in this one. They do have some options from the bench. They can also bring on Edin Dzeko or Kalahoglu, and they are their 2 best attacking options from the bench.
Lukaku, we haven't spoken to him in actually quite some time. He missed that World Cup. I actually think he's going to be a key piece for Inter there on the set pieces corners. I mean, he can get up and head those into the goal, so we'll see if he comes through. But I'd like to get your thoughts on one thing here, Ian. I know with the lack of competition coming into this final here, Inter, in my opinion, might be a little bit overconfident. They've kind of cruised into this final. They haven't had too much of hiccups in their way. Do you think that could hurt them, thinking, hey, listen, we've got here and now we're going to win? But I mean, they are the true underdogs, though, in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point because it has been quite a comfortable ride through the whole of the group stages, really. 2 Portuguese side and then playing AC Milan, obviously, is a big rivalry game, their local derby. So that one was a tough test for them, but they came through it easily enough. But they did come through a very difficult group. I know the group stage was a long time ago, but they did face the likes of Bayern Munich. They did have Barcelona in their group as well. So they have faced formidable opposition through this season. And they are a side full of established international players that should be able to deal with a high pressure game like this one. But I do agree with you, Matt, that they haven't faced a side like Manchester City for a long, long time where they just will really be penned back and pushed back. And it will be very interesting to see how Inter Milan deal with that one. Personally, I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah, and they are the underdogs. I mean, let's be honest about that. They're very high in being the underdogs. But let's transition to the favorites here, Man City. They're just coming off an FA Cup win. They have won the Premier League again, and now they're going for the treble. How does Man City match up with Inter in this one, and is it going to be easy?
Yeah, well, I mean, how they match up with everybody. You put Manchester City favourites against just about everyone. I mean, they've absolutely routed Bayern Munich, and they routed Real Madrid, who are probably the second and third of the strongest sides behind them in world football. Maybe some of the English clubs in there too. But look, it's all singing, all dancing. Manchester City going for a treble, trying to win pretty much everything. And the Champions League is their holy grail, if you like. It's the one that they really, really want to win. 2 years ago, they got to the final against Chelsea, Matt, your beloved Chelsea, and they blew that final. And famously, Pep Guardiola made a bit of a mess of his team selections, overthought it a little bit, and they went away from what they've been doing so well, and it ended up costing them. I don't think he's going to make the same mistake again. I think he's going to play that same side that beat Manchester United in the FA Cup final, which means Man City will be coming in with a 3-2-4-1 formation. 2 years ago as well, Man City didn't have a recognised striker. And now, arguably, they have the best striker in the world. As I said, the half-human, half-cyborg Erling Haaland makes such a difference to this side. It doesn't even really matter if he touches the ball. It doesn't really matter if he scores. He still makes a massive impact with him just being on the pitch. He creates space for other players because he's often double-marked by 2 opposition players. And it means that this City side, he could create space for the other players as well. It also, a common tactic against Man City is sometimes teams like to press them high, push them back and win the ball off them high. But with Haaland, you can't really do that because you can't leave him isolated. And if teams do that, it means City have got an easy out ball up to Haaland who can hold it up or run in the channels behind it. So if sides sit deep, which I expect Inter Milan will do, Man City can just control the ball, get into their passing groove, and just keep Inter Milan penned into their own half. They'll try and create overloads, try and create 2v1 situations, try and get the likes of De Bruyne, Gundogan, Silva, and Grealish into little pockets of space in behind the back 4 to create chances into the box. Also, as well, you've got the likes in behind that front 5, if you like. You've got Rodri and Stones as a holding midfield players, but they really do a bit of an everything job. They're allowed to come forward and help build up the attacks, and they're also good at covering the space wherever that appears on the pitch. They really are like the jack of all trades players, and they are pivotal to Man City as well. Inter Milan, we talked about it. They do have pace and they do have power up front with Lukaku and Martinez, and at the wing-back areas as well. But I think Akanji, Diaz and Walker, they will be able to deal with that quite comfortably. Again, I don't think Man City will change too much, even if Inter do get an early goal in this one. I think they'll still just back their patience, back their passing, and back their ability to eke out a goal. I will say that one thing they did against Real Madrid, they almost got a little bit too overconfident, and they were hit by Real Madrid a couple of times, and against Manchester United as well. They were hit a couple of times and did give away quite a few scoring opportunities in that one. So they do have to be wary of this Inter Milan side, but they have got an extremely strong bench as well. Alvarez, Mahrez can come on and make a difference. Phil Foden as well. I really just look at this one and think I just cannot look beyond Man City for winning this game.
So I know you want to take the favorites. I know it's chalky to take the favorites. Haaland, he had 35
Favorite
goals.
backer.
I think he had 35 goals. He broke the record in the Premier League, if I'm not mistaken. This season. Yeah. He's hard to go against. But this is one thing I will guarantee. They will not score faster in the Champions League final than they did in the FA Cup final. That would be my number one bet for this game.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Ian, if you are looking at this from a betting perspective, and to be quite honest, Man City is heavily favored. Last time I looked, they were, I think, about minus 420 to lift the cup at the end of the day. From a betting perspective, who's taking home the trophy? But really, what's the best angle to take on betting these two teams?
So yeah, Matt, looking at it, the odds on Manchester City winning the game, I mean, they're the team I think are going to win it. So obviously there is value if you do fancy Inter Milan and you want to back them, then there is value on that, of course. But I think Manchester City are heavy favourites. They deserve that tag. And I think that the fact that this is kind of like the final piece of their puzzle, that they're going to just be going into this game, I just can't see them making many mistakes in this one. For me, I'm looking at Manchester City on the spread. I think Manchester City -1 on the spread is a safe, good bet for me. I think it's good value. I think it's like 125 plus 125 or something like that. So you're getting a good value on Manchester City to win this by 2 goals. I think Man City will win this comfortably. My score prediction, Matt, will be a 3-0 win for Man City.
Wow. You heard it first here, folks. Man City not only going to sweep the trophies here over the past few weeks, but they're going to win and win outright 3-0. I like that spread bet, though. I like the -1 there. In a few moments, I'm going to talk about some player props and some game props that might correlate with that. But no, I like that bet. I think that is a good way to go. And again, as you mentioned, plus money on the screen there at plus 125. So Man City, that's our first best bet, -1 on the spread. But honestly, Ian, I've been looking at a couple prop bets for this game, and I think we have some good value. We're going to stick with the trend, actually, of plus money here. The first one, I'm going to look at Bernardo Silva. We're going to take Bernardo Silva over half a shot on goal. All right, listen, Silva, since the round of 16 when Man City wins in their matches, he has hit this mark in 2 of those 3 games, including a goal in that 3-0 victory versus Munich. He has hit this mark in both the semifinals and finals of the FA Cup. So Silva in big matches, he's going to give it a go with at least a couple shots and 1 on goal. I think that being on that right side with De Bruyne, I think we're going to see a couple of chances this Saturday. Now, my question to you, Ian, is number 1, what do you think about that player prop? And number 2, maybe Silva at plus 400 to score a goal? Or do you think Haaland up front is just going to take all of those?
I think it's a really good bet. I really like it, and because a lot of the money will be on Erling Haaland to score. It always is for every Manchester City game. A lot of money will be on Kevin De Bruyne as well. Again, there always is for Man City games. So looking for those players outside of those two is smart money. Obviously, Gundogan will be a short price as well, given 2 goals at the weekend. But Silva and Grealish, they're so good at getting in beyond their fullback or in beyond their wingback, in behind, into little pockets of space. They're almost like the players because you're so focused on the other ones. They're the ones that kind of slip into the gaps that go a little bit unnoticed. It's exactly what he did against Real Madrid. And that's what Man City do. It's a constant test, a constant putting the back four under pressure. You have to be on it like all the time. And they're just so good at slipping into those little gaps. Silva was brilliant against Real Madrid, as you said, and up against Goossens or Bastoni. I can just see him getting into a little gap. Hopefully getting a shot on goal for you, Matt. And yeah, I can certainly see him scoring a goal. All of Man City's attacking players have the ability to change games.
I love it. Hey, if he scores a goal, not only would we hit that prop bet, which I might throw some pizza money on, but for sure if he scores a goal, we're hitting the over half a shot, as that would definitely be on target. Lastly, I do have one more prop. I'd love to know your thoughts also on this, Ian, as I go through it. I'm looking at over 1.5 goals here in the first half of this game. And let me discuss why. You can get this number one at great odds on the screen there, plus 165. And my thinking is, I know it's a cup final. Okay, goals are hard to come by most of the time in cup finals. However, Man City, I think, is going to want to come out here and score quickly, and I think that opens up the game. And they did in the FA Cup final last weekend. You know, they did a good job where they scored first. Now they gave up a penalty. It was kind of a soft goal. But I think if they score one in the first 20 minutes, and you're giving me 25 more minutes for Man City to punch another one in and really go into halftime with that cup halfway in their locker room, I think they're going to get there, and I think that's not a bad price. What about your thoughts, Ian?
Yeah, so I mean, again, a lot with Man City as well. You're talking about it, even if it is 0-0 after half an hour, they've got that ability to score goals. But again, sorry to say if you are an Inter Milan fan watching this, because we've done a lot of talking about Man City, but Inter do have the ability to score goals as well and create chances and push City back. But you know, they've got a lot of quality going forward. They are dangerous from set pieces as well, so you can't rule out Inter Milan getting an early goal in this one, and then obviously Man City having to fight back their way into this one, and then into being able to pick them off on the break for a second too.
And you never know. Maybe there's another soft penalty where a handball is called in the box, and it just works out. Actually, I could see a 1-1 draw going into halftime as well, just like we saw in the FA Cup final. But yeah, those are our three bets. I just want to recap them for everybody real quick there on the screen. Bet one, we got Man City -1 on the spread at plus 125. Our second bet is Bernardo Silva over half a shot on goal at plus 110. And our third one is first half goals over 1.5 at plus 165. Quite frankly, if you win 2 out of 3, you're going to profit very well there. So, Ian, I'm looking forward to the match itself, and I think you and I will be live right here on YouTube, and we will be live streaming that match. I'm looking forward to it. That's going to be at 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Saturday, and I believe that is June 10th. So make sure you join us. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on your way out. Smash the like button, and head on over to Ian's channel. It's Ian OUFC here on YouTube. In the meantime, sit back, relax, enjoy the days leading up to the European Champions League final, and we will see you next time.